Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jaja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulonding. We are also producers of Jaja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gash, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gash Group also provides the best security company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gash.
It's a warm reception to our studio here in Serekunda. This is Star TV News. With me, Maimuna Fadera. In the headlines tonight, President Barrow increased 15% on groundnut prices. The Birkama Area Council Vice Chairman alleged of corruption. Commuters worried about recent traffic congestion. Marble system of voting is best as far as Gambians' history is concerned. And international scene. Polls close in Guinea's presidential election. Taliban denies Afghanistan fighting will drill thugs. Fight for U.S. battleground, state of Michigan enters final stretch. Well, those were the headlines, and now the news in details. His Excellency President Adama Barrow on Saturday announced that his government plans to increase the price of groundnut to 15% in the coming season, expected to start in December. The president made this announcement during a meeting with his supporters at the State House. Well, Dado Cham reports.
The price of groundnut last year's SECO price was $18,000 and 15% increase will rise to $20,700. The Gambian leader also announced there will not be any credit buying this year, highlighting that any farmer who deposits groundnut at the SECOs will be handed a check to go to the bank and collect their money. And according to the president, this will prevent anyone stealing money since it will not be in cash form. The president further disclosed that the National People's Party will contest both the Nyamina West and Kirjarga by-election, as he urged all to set an example in those two elections to show the whole country that NPP wrestlers will be difficult to wrestle with. Barrow also revealed his government's plan to construct the Kawunyanija Road. He called on Gambians to unite and bring an end to politics of insults and bigotry, as that will not develop this country. Barrow said although people are now free to express themselves, it should be done in a civilized manner for the greater good of the country. He said Gambia is expressing a proliferation of political parties because people feel it is easy to jump onto the presidency. But he reminded his audience that the likes of Aseinu Dabo, Halifa Sallah and Hamad Ba have all tried to remove Jammeh without success. For President Barrow, God does not reward smartness, but hard working, highlighting that he came in 3 months and was able to remove Jammeh. He, however, said that people think that it is easy to ascend to the presidency because it took him only 3 months to defeat Jammeh. But it is God that chooses presidents, indicating that he don't even know how he got to the presidency. Reporting for Star TV News, I am Dado Cham.
The vice chairman of the Birkama Area Council has allegedly taken money from 2 young businessmen, one of whom is a returnee who set up his business courtesy of the International Organization for Migration and other stakeholders. Last week Thursday, a reporter was in Birkama to independently follow the matter.
Inadequate job opportunities and the inability to establish fruitful businesses for young people are the driving forces triggering the youths to embark on irregular migration as the only alternative to make ends meet. Meanwhile, many young people have been repatriated, but for them to engage in something fruitful remains a hurdle. Amadou Ndao is a returnee from Libya who spent 8 years on the journey to Europe, was repatriated by the International Organization for Migration (IOM) and supported to establish his own business. But according to him, the vice chairman of the Brikama Area Council and one officer, Ibu Job, have taken $5,000 from him, alleging that the vice chairman wants to help him to take ownership of the shop he is currently occupying.
Nata jang ikonne ko charnoli manyanna wo jola amanyane jorindi la 1005 because 1005 intol council la ta munyimbiti ko.
They came here and they told me that I should not pay 1,500 to Chornoli because this shop belonged to the area council, and the reason why we visited your shop is to ensure that we eradicate those mediators who are making extra charges to the young business entrepreneurs like you.
Amadou has undergone series of training on business management with IOM, GAIPA and MPTech, and with the support of this organization, he was able to set up his own business. Amadou Ndao alleged that the vice chairman of the Brikama Area Council, Ismaila Jallo, and the chief officer, Ibu Job, have taken $5,000 from him in October 2019 to help him take ownership of the shop, but since then, the council have not yet made any effort to fulfill the purpose they collected the money from him. Neither they return the money they have collected. We visited Brikama Area Council to meet the Vice Chairman Ismaila Jallo and could not see him, but through a telephone conversation, Jallo told us that he wanted to help Amadou Ndao. Brikama is the administrative center for West Coast region, and its municipality enjoys the biggest source of revenue generation among the municipalities in the Gambia. However, the Brikama Area Council administrative authorities have proven to its people that they can't run the council.
Concerned commuters and drivers have raised concern over the recent traffic congestion in the Greater Banjul area, saying that it has negatively impacted their daily activities. Well, Maria Madam tells us more.
Traffic congestion has recently become a norm in the Greater Banjul area, where 10 minutes drive has now become 50 minutes or so. And this is as a result of the increased number of cars, lack of feeder roads and bad roads. However, some people have been pointing fingers at the Ministry of Transport for being the main cause of the problem. The Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Works, Transport and Infrastructure, Modu Sise, has however refutes those allegations and opines that traffic congestion is a seasonal matter, and it is mainly caused by the increasing number of cars, lack of private garages, social infrastructures in the Greater Banjul area, the numerous traffic police checkpoints and some bad roads.
While government is doing a lot and in a very balanced development, you would have a hotspot somewhere that you then also isolate and not treated or put in the same basket of blame as such. Because we have to acknowledge that we are doing a lot in the provinces. The network expansion is also growing there significantly. However, like I said, the investment in the Greater Banjul area here is not matching the increase in vehicular traffic volume. This is true. But this is not only the problem. The problem is also largely as a result of, like any social phenomena, social pressure on our social infrastructure in the Greater Banjul area. For example, we know with the increase in volume of vehicles, and those vehicles not being parked at private garages, they are parked on the road.
PSC further explains the measures the ministry has taken in mitigating the issue.
But notwithstanding, like to your question, what is the ministry doing? The ministry is doing what it can, both in short term and in long term. Our plan is such that we recognize that, and that's why we are coming up with the battle-hardened expansion. It's a long-term intervention, But for the short-term intervention, we also didn't stop there. We have identified 20 road networks that are strategic, combining to a total of 50 kilometers. That we are also constructing, and we call them the burden-hardened road diversions routes in the Greater Banjul area. And we believe with that kind of intervention, it will actually go a long way in solving the problem. It will not eliminate it to the extent that this social behavior that I described to you are also not eliminated.
Traffic congestion used to occur during rush hours, and this has, however, changed as traffic congestion happens throughout the day in the Greater Banjul area. PSCC therefore urges the general public to be patient and promise to take action in solving the problem.
Traffic congestion, is to really empathize with the public, and that me inclusive, because we experience exactly what they experience. It is quite frustrating, and it's also quite expensive, and it's also the principal reason why we invest in road is to cut down on travel time. So if the reverse is happening there, then that means our investment is counterproductive. So we are equally frustrated. But our promise is that we will continue to do what we are doing, and we will step them up, and we will continue to plan ahead, understanding that road infrastructure takes some time to plan and to construct. So therefore, you have to plan ahead. And hopefully, with our plan and our investment, we have programmed, would go a long way in reducing this phenomena if it doesn't eliminate it.
Maria Madem, reporting for Star TV News.
The Independent Electoral Commission, IEC, plans to introduce paper ballot system for the upcoming presidential election in 2021. But the Director of Arts and Culture, Mr. Hassan Sise, said that the marble system is the best as far as the Gambia's history is concerned. He made this revelation in an interview with our reporter Hadijaju.
Hassan Sise indicated that the marble system is unique to the Gambia because when it was introduced in 1960, there was a lot of interest around the world surrounding the system of voting at the time, which prompted London newspaper to write an article called Operation Ping Pong in the Gambia. Hassan further mentioned that the ballot system is also an example of local technology, as the boxes and counting tablets were made locally, except the marbles, showing how the ingenious people helped to further Gambians' election. He also said that over the years, political scientists and anthropologists have written a lot about Gambians' voting system, and all of them have concluded that one reason why the Gambia scored very high marks in 1960s, 70s and 80s, the voting system was very fruitful and transparent, and has done Gambians' democracy a great deal of good.
In 1962, it was this marble system which enabled the PPP to remove the UP from power. In 1970, we used this marble system to vote in our Republican Constitution, and the Gambia became a democratic republic. In 2016, it was this marble and bell and barrel system, which enabled us to effect a change of government through peaceful elections.
In conclusion, Sise said as a historian, the marble system is unique to the Gambia, and therefore it should be considered as the Gambia's tradition and wants the marble system of voting to be kept and maintained. For Star TV News, I am Hadijaj.
Well, those were the local stories. We'll be back with international news after the short commercial break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Gambia, Angola, China Holding, Gosh, producers of the finest tomato paste in the Gambia. Jeja tomato paste, available in 5 kilos, 1 kilo and in sachets. For wholesale and retail, visit our factory at Banjulanding. We are also producers of Jeja mineral water, cool, clear and fresh. Gosh, Gambia, Angola, China Holding, with headquarters at Fatu Golden Plaza, Mile 7, Bertel Harding Highway. Gosh Group also provides the best security company company, Gash Security, for your offices, warehouses, homes and personal property. Gash Group for all your construction projects, offering you quality water reticulation for your gardens, pump irrigation, tidal irrigation projects and all types of buildings. You can contact Gash on 396-7894, 700-8993, 373-0259. Visit us at Gash Global Group on Battle Harden Highway, Fatu Golden Plaza. Our website www.gashglobal.com. Gambia, Angola, China Holding. Gash.
Welcome back. After that short commercial break, we now look at the news beyond our borders. Well, votes have been counted in Guinea's presidential election following months of deadly unrest and a campaign made by violence. The poll appears to have been largely peaceful, but dozens of opposition supporters say they had trouble casting their ballots at the age of 82. President Alpha Condé amended the constitution, allowing him to run for a third mandate despite widespread protests. Well, Al Jazeera's Nicholas Hick reports.
This is when the trouble starts. Not enough observers, too many votes to count. Election officials say a record number of Guineans came out to take part in this election. Most are first-time voters, queuing hours before the polls open to have a say in the country's future. Despite a divisive and violent presidential campaign with candidates fomenting ethnic tension, the voting was peaceful.
Donnez votre voix, mais ne donnez pas votre vie.
Give your vote but not your life. We are Guineans. What we have in common is stronger than what divides us. The nation is what we have in common. Politics divides us. We have to favour the nation. We have to tell ourselves that we are Guineans rather than activists for political parties.
President's Guinean People's Party is largely backed by the Malinka ethnic group, while Diallo's opposition party is mostly supported by the Fulani people. At the age of 82, President Alpha Condé amended the constitution, allowing him to run for a third mandate despite widespread protest.
I wish for a free, fair, democratic and transparent election, and that everything is done peacefully and with tranquility. We will make sure all polling stations are secure. Guinea cannot develop if there is not peace, security and unity. We call on all candidates to avoid violence.
Already opposition candidate Jallo is saying he believes he has won the vote and accuses the election commission of favoring incumbent President Alpha Condé.
Quant à l'issue du scrutin, j'ai d'énormes inquiétudes si
I'm not worried about the outcome of the election. However, I have major concerns for peace and cohesion if Mr. Alpha Condé tries to seize power through cunning and violence. This will not be acceptable to our supporters and to the Guinean patriots who will have voted for change.
While the West African body ECOWAS and the African Union sent observers, the EU didn't. Analysts fear the worst is yet to come, with candidates refusing to accept the outcome of the vote, putting the electoral process in jeopardy.
My worry is that whatever the result is, we may go through political instability for a while. All these divisions that have been created over time, how do we build the country, bring Guineans together?
Regardless of ethnicity, most Guineans have almost no access to electricity or running water, with 20% of the population living in extreme poverty. And yet the country is rich in minerals, home to the largest reserves of bauxite in the world. The challenge for the country's next president is to deliver on what has become a broken promise: political stability and the economic prosperity so many Guineans are waiting for. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera.
The Taliban says recent violence in Afghanistan will not derail talks with the government. There has been an escalation in fighting in this week, which has displaced thousands of families. Al Jazeera's Osama bin Javad has been monitoring developments in Qatar, where he spoke to Mohammed Naim, spokesman for the Taliban's political office in Qatar.
Tens of thousands of Afghans have been displaced in the last few weeks as fighting has intensified between the Afghan government and the Taliban. The Taliban insisting that it is trying to retake areas that it had vacated for the Afghan people, and saying that it has been launching offensives only against those areas where checkpoints have been established, where reinforcements have been sent, and where it has come under attacks by night raids or airstrikes. On the other hand, the Afghan government insists that it is the Taliban who have been launching an offensive, and it's shown by the United States efforts to try and stop them with airstrikes as well. Earlier we spoke to the spokesman of the Afghan Taliban, who says that this will not derail the peace process, as violence and talks can continue side by side, but for lasting peace in Afghanistan, both sides will have to show unflinching commitment.
We refuse to say there is no progress. There is, but there are problems and, as I said, disagreements on key issues. As you know, there are still meetings between the committees, and we hope that at the end we will reach a solution, and let's keep this in consideration. This is a major step, and it's expected to be a difficult process. This happens all over the world when there are negotiations. Starting a dialogue is never easy. There is some progress, and then there may be some slowdown, and in many cases, talks come to a halt. These issues are quite normal, and we hope that the disagreements we have on the key issues will be solved very soon, God willing.
Talks have continued between not just the Taliban and the Afghan government, but interlocutors of peace with the Taliban as well as the US government. We've seen Zalmay Khalilzad, the US lead diplomat, trying to mediate between the Afghan government and the Taliban, saying that all sides are going to try and make sure that there is a reset of the violence. All elements of the agreement which was reached with the Taliban are going to be implemented, and all sides should reduce the violence. There has been reassurances by the Taliban as well as the Afghan government that they are going to scale down attacks to try and protect civilian lives.
With less than 3 weeks to go before the U.S. presidential election, incumbent President Donald Trump has held campaign rallies in 2 swing states, Michigan and Wisconsin. Just hours apart, his Democratic challenger, Joe Biden, had given 2 speeches in Michigan the previous day. Biden is leading in many national polls, feeling the pressure on Trump to sworn undecided voters. Al Jazeera's John Hendren reports from the U.S. Capitol, Washington, D.C.
Donald Trump played defense, returning to 2 battleground states he won by a whisker in 2016. Trump took his campaign to Wisconsin and to Michigan, where he criticized the state's Democratic governor. 13 militia members were arrested just over a week ago in an alleged plot to kidnap her.
You got to get your governor to open up your state, okay? And get your schools open. Get your schools open. The schools have to be open, right?
That prompted a now familiar chant.
Lock them all up.
As the president laid into Michigan's governor, he was skirting the strict limits on crowd sizes that she had set by calling his rally a peaceful protest, with few masks and little social distancing among his supporters. Trump's Democratic rival, Joe Biden, pursued a cautious, make-no-mistakes approach, taking a break from the campaign trail on Saturday. Instead, he tweeted viral videos like this one.
I lose Minnesota, I'm never coming back.
Teasing Trump for threatening in state after state never to return if he loses the election.
Good, maybe I'll have to leave the country.
In posting the video, Biden writes, "Promise?" Biden's running mate, Kamala Harris, spent the weekend quarantining after members of her staff tested positive for coronavirus. Her office says she tested negative. More than 26 million Americans have already cast their ballots. Still in Washington, thousands gathered on Saturday for the Women's March, urging women to vote on the issues that affect them.
It is not hyperbole to say that everything is on the line this November. We cannot afford 4 more years of this administration attacking our access to reproductive health care and rights.
With just over 2 weeks to go in the campaign, Trump fans at the rally in Michigan taunted his critics, chanting 12 more years, an amount that would violate the U.S. Constitution. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Well, before we end the news, a quick recap of our main headlines. President Barrow increased 15% on groundnut prices. The Birkama area council vice chairman alleged of corruption. Commuters worried about recent traffic congestion. Marble system of voting is best as far as Gambians' history is concerned. On the international scene, polls close in Guinea's 10th presidential election. Taliban denies Afghanistan fighting will drill thugs. Fight for U.S. battleground state of Michigan enters final stretch. Well, that's all for this edition of the news. Do enjoy the rest of our programs and join us tomorrow for more news. Thanks for watching.